How's it going, everybody? It's Pilot Flame, and we are back with another FPL video, and today we're doing the buy, hold, and sell edition for Game Week 12, where we take a look at players which you should buy this coming game week as they have a good run of fixtures or something has changed to whereas they could be mandatory in our FPL teams, players that you should hang on to so that you can potentially get one last hurrah out from them this coming game week, and players which you should give the shoe and sell as they are not doing too well, injured, or anything in between that for Game Week 12. If you haven't done so already, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe channel if you're new or haven't done so already. It greatly helps out the channel, as well as turn those notification bells on so that you can get the content as soon as it is readily available. Also, give us a follow over on Twitter so you can keep up to date with any and all FPL news, from price changes to injury news and anything in between. And lastly, make sure to give us a follow over on Twitch so that you can see when we go live for our preview and deadline streams. We usually leave a pinned comment down below to let you know when those streams will be happening. So without further ado, let's talk about our sponsors for this video with Manscaped. This video is brought to you by Manscaped, the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped have just launched their 4th generation trimmer, the Lawnmower 4.0, alongside their Performance Package 4.0, which also includes the Weed Whacker hair and nose trimmer for those pesky little hairs that are getting out of hand, the Crop Preserver for anti-chafing to make sure that you are as relaxed at all times, the Crop Reviver for maximum conditioning and toning to make sure your jewels are as buff as possible, disposable shaving mats, as well as the premier travel bag for your on-the-go grooming, and lastly the anti-chafing boxers, which I can personally say are extremely comfortable and keep you cool under the highest amount of pressure. What I found the most impressive is that the Lawnmower 4.0 features ceramic cutting-edge blades to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology, so you can now have that added security when venturing into uncharted territories. The upgraded trimmer also includes a multi-function on and off switch that can engage a travel lock, and also when you are venturing into those uncharted territories, it has the ability for a LED, a 400K LED, a very strong light that you can switch on and off so you can get that more precise shave. So make sure to join over 4 million men who trust in Manscaped with this exclusive offer, 20% off and free worldwide shipping, using the code FLAME20 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com using the code FLAME20. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. So last time we did an edition of buy, hold, and sell was in Game Week 10, and the stats here shown are supplied by Fantasy Football Scout members area as per usual, and the players we chose was Phil Foden to buy, Kai Havertz to hold, and Antonio to sell. So 2 of the 3 we got correct in this sense. Kai Havertz went on to score an additional goal after his assist in Game Week 10 for Game Week 11. He probably got to have more points in this game week. Antonio somehow managed to dodge 7 West Ham goals, getting no returns in any of those goal involvements, and Foden has done nothing since his 18-pointer in Game Week 9, just getting the 2 points and then the 3 points versus Manchester United. But I still think Foden is a great long-term buy. Havertz is a hold and could be on the chopping block this week. We'll have to wait and see. And Antonio is a sell for now, but we're going to be looking to get him back in most likely around Game Week 16, where West Ham's fixtures are quite good. It just seems like right now when they're playing in difficult fixtures, the goals seem to be kind of spread around, mainly focusing on winning set pieces, being defensively compact, and that doesn't necessarily favor Antonio as much. Set pieces, yes, but when they're, trying to win set pieces and be a bit more defensive, West Ham have been quite successful, as in the Liverpool result last week. So Antonio, I think, was right to sell for the time being. If you haven't sold him as of yet, I would say keep him for this week and then maybe sell him for a couple weeks and then bring him back in Game Week 16. But remember, the game weeks come thick and fast, and it could be potentially hampering on Antonio's hamstrings, although he hasn't broken down yet and he's still been performing well even when he hasn't been scoring. But let's take a look at our buy for Game Week 12. So a player that I believe we looked at on our players to target video is Diogo Jota, 7.5 million, potentially playing up front or at least in the front 3 game in, game out for Liverpool, who is a team that has yet to fail in a game to score at least 1 goal, which means they have not chalked up a donut this season versus any team in the first 11 game weeks, which is a very, very good stat, and I believe they're one of I think they're actually the only team to have done that this season, and the only team that will continue to do it as long as they keep scoring goals every game. And I think they can definitely get that versus Arsenal at home. Southampton at home, they should favor themselves. Everton, they should be looking to beat a depleted Everton, even if it is a Merseyside derby. And Wolves have been leaking goals a lot more recently, so they should be quite successful in that one as well. And Diogo Jota, only 12.9% owned, 4 goals, 1 assist on the season, basically bang on his XGI of 5.03. It doesn't matter if he plays off the left, plays down the middle, plays off the right. I think he can definitely get returns. He's less likely to be hooked early as well because Roberto Firmino, it's kind of the new age version of Jesus and Aguero. If one was injured, you brought in the other, and if the other was injured, you brought in the first one. This is pretty much the same way for Jota, except for you just never bought Firmino, basically. And Diogo Jota is that sort of price point where he is considered a mid-price midfielder. And I think with situations like this, if Firmino is out to around mid-December, which it seems the reports, based on if you want to believe what you read, that is going to be the case, which would mean that Firmino would probably be, at least these 4 game weeks definitely out for those ones, because remember the game weeks are coming very, very quick, and if he comes back even just like slightly before that, you're still going to get probably at least 2 to 3 games out of Jota anyway. And Firmino, if he's rushed back, he could end up back, in the injury room as well, on the medical table, getting treatment for that same hamstring issue, which he's had already once this season, I believe, as well. But what are you going to get out of Diogo Jota? You're going to get a great FPL asset. He's going to be frustrating at times. 16 chances created, 7 big chances, but only 4 goals to show for it. He does create a few big chances as well. He does shoot a lot. He shoots often in the box. He's actually quite good in the air as well, which is something that Arsenal hasn't necessarily been good at defending over the past few seasons. So expect Diogo Jota to potentially get a headed attempt on goal inside the box against Arsenal at home. So that could be quite good. Me personally, I think I might skirt around Jota maybe and look at the Spurs assets instead and go for much cheaper midfield options, because I still have Smith Rowe and Mbeumo and players like that. And maybe I look to get in Son potentially as well. But I think Jota is probably the most sensible buy if you're looking for any type of midfielder this week. I think he's could do very, very well, especially with Roberto Firmino less likely to be subbed, and maybe even I'm convincing myself to bring him in this week, even though I didn't initially think, because I hadn't had him for large portion of the season. In the beginning of the season, I went with Tsimikas over Diogo Jota, and Tsimikas actually ended up doing slightly better than him, which is interesting. And also, Tsimikas could potentially be playing as well. I still don't know the extent of Robertson's injury. Pay attention to the Fantasy Football Scout team news that Neil does, as well as over on Fantasy Football Scouts channel that usually comes out on Fridays as well. So make sure to check that out, because I'm going to be paying attention to that as well, because I'm going to have my eyes peeled and my ears wide and attentive towards the, I don't even know if attentive is a word, attentive, that's the word I'm looking for, to see if Robertson is out longer term, because a 3.9 million starting attacking left back for Liverpool seems much better than Diogo Jota, to be honest. So that might be something I go for and allow me to free up some funds so I can go for the likes of Son or Kane as well. Now, with Jota out of the way, let's talk about a player who's been so hyped in the beginning of the season and is playing for a Brentford side that was doing quite well, but have started to lose some players. But I still think you should hang on to him this coming game week. Now, Ivan Toney, currently 6.7 million, I think is definitely a hold this week. He does have some kind of, could be a bit tricky fixtures in theory, with Everton and Spurs, but Everton have a lot of injuries. Leeds, they should be fairly straightforward for Brentford because of their style of play. Spurs could be a bit tricky, and Newcastle is one of the worst teams in the division for defense, and Eddie Howe's not going to change that most likely. He's going to make them how to win games, which is what he came out of his own mouth. He always often says that, saying that I go to look at how to win a game, not how to not lose it, basically, which means that Toney and Mbeumo finally could get on the score sheet this week. So I think him and Mbeumo are definitely a hold, but I wanted to highlight Toney this season, or this video, because 2 goals, 2 assists. So if you think that he blanks in game week 12, you think that's a return one in every 3 game weeks. That's not bad for a promotion striker that's come up from the championship, that has only had one spell in the Premier League and didn't do too well. I think that's okay. I think that's passable. A lot of FPL managers are expecting wonders from him game in, game out. Yes, the Norwich result is disappointing. Yes, the Newcastle result, if he doesn't get any returns, would be disappointing. But if you look at his underlying stats, he's still doing well. He's only had 3 big chances all season. He scored 2 of them. He's created 14 chances, 5 of which were big chances, and only coming away with 2 assists, and that's mainly due to Mbomo hitting the post. And he's had 20 shots inside the box, so he is getting a couple shots inside the box a game or thereabouts. And XGI shows that he is underperforming, so there is some room for improvement. So I think that Tony isn't necessarily one to be on the chopping block. If he starts to go Newcastle nothing, Everton nothing, Spurs nothing, Leeds nothing, then the good fixtures start to run out, and then you have to start looking at other avenues there as well, potentially downgrading him to just a non-playing forward and pack the midfield in a 3-5-2, or look to potentially upgrade him to Antonio if you don't have him currently later on. Maybe you swap him out for another forward that might emerge, like a Calvert-Lewin or a Bamford when they come back into the fray, because the forwards this season haven't been the greatest this season. I mean, we hyped up Lukaku and Ronaldo, and Ronaldo started off like a house on fire, same with Lukaku, and then Man United just were terrible, and Lukaku got injured, so we're kind of waiting for our forwards to come back and do well, which is why we're hoping that Kane's going to do well to at least rival Salah even slightly for the captaincy. But I think Tony is a budget forward. I think he's doing okay. Could he be doing better? Yes. Do Brentford's injury concerns make things a little bit more difficult for him? Probably, but they are going up against Newcastle, and I think he should do quite nicely versus them. I expect a return from him or Mbomo or both this coming game week, so I definitely think it's a hold. But if there is one player that I think you do sell, was probably a 3-week punt that FPL Twitter jumped on a while ago, and it's a certain Chelsea man that was playing false 9 under Thomas Tuchel. And that 8.1 million FPL midfielder is Kai Havertz, someone who we initially thought of and thought he was going to do quite well. The purchase of Lukaku meant that he had a lack of playing time, and then when Lukaku got injured, he slotted straight into the false 9 position. Just the 2 goals and the 1 assist on the season, definitely underperforming. It was an FPL kind of bandwagon for the 3 or 4 game weeks that a lot of managers brought him in. If you captained him during the 7-goal smashing of Norwich and he came away with nothing, that's a bit unfortunate, but he still got a goal and an assist over that time period of the 3 or so games that, FPL Twitter kind of started thinking, hey, we should bring in Havertz and that sort of stuff. But the fixtures aren't looking great coming up. Leicester, Man United, typically more difficult games. Yes, Watford's nice, but West Ham away is going to be a bit tricky as well. His stats don't really necessarily warrant keeping him unless you have some massive fires to put out. I think you can easily swap him to Jota. I think you can swap him to Phil Foden if you have a little bit extra money. I think Phil Foden's like 0.2 more. You can always downgrade him to like a Gallagher who's been performing quite well. And there's a bunch of different midfield options that you can go for. If you have an extra bit of money in the bank, you can always upgrade to Son. And I think that's what's going to determine what FPL managers go for when using Havertz's money. Do they have that little bit extra money where they can do Son in 1? That could be quite nice. If they don't, then maybe they can have the choice of going from Havertz to Son or using Havertz's funds, downgrading to Gallagher or someone like that, and use those funds to get Kane as an example. So that's what a lot of FPL managers are going to be looking at this coming game, because Spurs' fixtures are quite nice, whereas Chelsea's get a little bit rocky, but you would expect them to still do decently well. But with Lukaku looking like he's back in training, potentially could be a part of this game, I don't see the longevity in Kai Havertz. So if I was an owner, which I'm not, but if I was, I'd be looking to sell him this week, and I'd probably do the switch to Son. It just makes the most logical sense, and you can easily set that up in one move had you done some planning earlier on in the season as well. But let me know what you think down in the comments below as to what players you are buying, holding, or selling in Game Week 12. So if you haven't heard about Fantasy Football Scout, they have a fantastic members area during the regular season. It's £25 for the membership, and that lasts the entire year. And during the off season, they give a 20% discount. But if you have missed that discount, fear not, you can still get the membership for £25, and it's fantastic. You can see the membership area just behind me. You have a bunch of different stats that you can use, powered by Opta stats, and create your own custom tables. You have the Rate My Team tool, you have the season ticker, player comparison tools, a whole array of things that you can use to help elevate your FPL game. So use the link down in the description below so that you can get access to these exclusive tools to help elevate your FPL game. Sign up now. And that's going to do it for our Game Week 12 edition of Buy, Hold, and Sell. If you haven't done so already, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe channel if you're new or haven't done so already. It greatly helps out the channel, as well as turn those notification bells on so that you can get the content as soon as it is readily available. Also, drop us a follow over on Twitter so that you can keep up to date with any and all FPL news, from price changes to injury news and anything in between, as well as give us a follow over on Twitch so that you can see when we go live for our preview and deadline streams. We'll be doing a deadline stream this week. It's going to be on Saturday, 1 hour before the FPL deadline as per usual. We also leave a pinned comment down below on every YouTube video to let you know when the next streams will be happening, as well as use the links in the description below so that you can get 20% off using the code FLAME20 at manscape.com for all of your manscaping needs, and as well as give us a look at the Fantasy Football Scout members area. Give us a look. Make sure to look at the Fantasy Football Scout members area, because it's going to be looking back at you with a whole bunch of really good stats, and they're going to help elevate your FPL game. Thank you all for watching, and until the next one, take care.